Greetings, my friends! Today it will be Google Camera Guide, Part 2. In the first part we were installing it, but people struggled with user interface. And I want to address it and give some tips and tricks. UI is very simple and straightforward. It looks like any basic photo app on any phone. Apple, Android, you name it. In the bottom there is a panel where you switch between modes. Camera tab is the most important one. Different versions and releases will have different options for modes, but generally it is always the same. Video. It is not the strongest point of Gcam. It is mostly for photography. Now, Camera tab. In the version of the app that I use right now, in the middle it is not a switch between lenses, but digital crops. To select different lens you need to press on your left bottom. And now I have a list of my available lenses. Circling arrows means a front selfie lens. So, by just pressing the needed lens, I will select it, from ultrawide to telephoto. Very easy. Now the most important part. On the top right corner, there is a button to directly change the looks of your image. Press this color profiles button and you will have pre-customized settings from the author and creator of the mod. Some of them have more highlights presence, some will have it more toned down. Some will have less computations for faster capture. Some will be more contrasty and darky, or very artistic and situational. The only way to find out is to try it and look at what you like. I will have a quick comparison video. It is available for free for everyone. It is on my Patreon. Link in the description and pinned comment. Next very big and impactful button. On the left top there is a cogwheel button. Press it and you will have additional options. There is 3 HDR buttons. They control the amount of computational stitchings. In other words, how many photos phone will take at the same time. If you select third button HDR Plus, it will take a lot more time to capture your frame. We will talk about it in a minute. Let's quickly see what we can have in this cogwheel button settings. On the top there is white balance control. I do not think that it is properly working. I just leave it on full auto. Next there is built-in flash. It lights up the flashlight on the back of your phone for portraits outside or for low light. On Vivo flashlight is extremely strong. Even on the lowest brightness it is 3 times more bright than the maximum value of flashlight on my new walkie-talkie. It is Sony Xperia 5 Mark IV. 3 years old, $1,000 MSRP so-called flagship. I bought it dirt cheap, in a perfect conditions, for $130. It has full cameras and lenses, and zero support for Gcam. Even if I wanted, I cannot fix photography. That's why it is a blessing to have such a powerful Gcam mod available that can please even such a capricious and naughty photographer as me, and transforms a pocket smartphone into something that smokes most of the small mirrorless and DSLRs. So, white balance on auto, flashlight photography as option. RAW photography. You can choose JPEGs only or RAW plus JPEG. It will produce clean DNG file and fully edited beautiful JPEG that needs zero post-edit. I usually just leave it on JPEG only. I trust this app for my use cases. Now, finally, let's go back to HDR button. Basically, there are 3 levels. No HDR. The fastest capture time, instant, but less computational magic, more noise and less details. HDR. It will take more time, but still it is pretty fast. Suits for moving subjects and will have a lot more information in the shadows and highlights, and less noise with natural grain as a result. And HDR with a plus. It is the slowest, hard to capture non-stationary subjects, can have some artifacts if someone moves too quick. It has slightly more details and less noise and grain, but has diminishing returns and requires steady hands. I suggest to leave it on HDR without a plus. It is more than good enough for 95% of situations, but you will have a lot more controlled shots. It is very fast, not instant, but close. HDR Plus takes almost full 4 seconds. I will select None Plus. It is almost the same as no HDR in terms of speed, but almost the same as HDR Plus in terms of image quality. Some more settings. On the top right, near color profiles, there is a watermark button. It just leaves information beneath the taken photo. Your lens, settings that were used. It is just for monitoring. It is very hard to keep tracking everything when you have thousands of shots and you need to compare it. In 99.9% of situations, you do not even need to know about the existence of this button, so feel free to ignore it. Near it, the red Leica button. I will describe it simple. It makes the shot more moody, with dark vignettes on the corners to draw attention at the center of the shot. I love it. I almost never turn it off. But I actually recommend to try it out and see for yourself. For most people, I suggest to just turn it off. Let's quickly repeat it. You select your camera tab in the bottom. Next, on the top right, you select your desired color profile. Decide about red Leica button off or on. On the top left cogwheel button, over there you decide what levels of HDR do you need, how fast you need to capture. And it is that simple. You are set to go. Just select your desired lens of your choice and take some beautiful pictures. It was the basics of the app. There are some more advice and settings that I want to suggest that can drastically change your experience and results. On the same top right cogwheel button, on the bottom of that window you can notice More Settings button. Press it. It will open more in-depth options and fine-tunings. I won't take your time and explain each and every one. Just take a look if you want to know what's in there. Inside these More options, there is an Advanced button. Button Inception. Dream within a dream. Just like our reality. Press Advanced button. Bunch of settings over there. You can check the Auto Night side. Basically it is a night mode, and if this settings is checked, when you are in the basic camera tab, there will appear small button with a moon on it. If I cover lenses, camera will think it is too dark and will give us this moon button on the bottom right. You can press it on or off to control the night mode. If it is on, shot will be bright with extra HDR++ computations. Let's go back into the Advanced button section. It has tons of options and settings, but probably you do not need to ever think about their existence. Just ignore it, or play around, for you to decide. Let's go back. Experimental button. Over there also a bunch of stuff. I wish we had that level of control in our mirrorless cameras, but hey. Here what I really suggest to do. Turn on framing hints. It is very powerful tool. It will give you levels and other informations to keep the track of your frame. It is especially handy on more wide lens. Not leveled frame will give you extreme levels of perspective distortions, or goofy proportions of people. Will be almost impossible to fix in post. And go back to More settings. In the same place, there is Grid button. I love to use 3x3. Can't even start to explain how powerful those guides are for composition and planning. I will turn it on and use 3x3. You will get 9 squares to track and have 4 intersection lines in the middle. If you place anything close to these intersections, it will have more chances to guide attention of the viewer to that place. So basically more control in the hands of the artist. Now, also important settings. Go back to the cogwheel and More settings. There is Manual control section. You will have lots of knobs to turn on and off. I prefer to turn on all of them, except white balance knob. On my version of the app it does not work and can crash. I just never touch it, but all other knobs are extremely important for more deterministic results. Of course you can always just press shutter button and expect beautiful results, but with all this you can have more control. And by far the most useful is exposure slider. Let me show you. If you tap anywhere you want to focus, the brightness, or in other terms exposure slider, will appear, and you can control the mood of your image. Will it be more dark with deep shadows, or will it be very bright with extreme HDR values? I suggest to lower it 1/3, or even in some occasions at half for more deep and moody style, darker nights and what not. Next, those knobs gave us 3 manual controls. In the top there is shutter speed slider. Basically, shutter speed is how fast image is being exposed to the light. Longer shutter speeds, like 1/10 of a second, will leave a trails on anything that moves in the frame while the shot is being taken, and it will make image brighter as a result of being exposed to the light for longer period of time. And faster shutter speeds will freeze the motion, making everything in a frame and time itself to stop. But image will be more darker, because your frame was exposed to the light for shorter period of time. For stationary people, 1/50 of seconds is minimum to get sharp results. For walking people, it is 1/100, or better 1/250. For running people, it is 1/500, or even 1/1000 of a second. That way you won't have trails or artifacts of HDR computations. If you leave it on auto, phone will just detect what is the best. But for anything that moves, I prefer to manually select what I need. If you find your image too dark for desired shutter speed, you can always tweak brightness slider. It will adjust the levels, play around to find what is the best. In most situations, I find lowering it to 1/3 gives better looking, more natural image. I hope you are not tired, my friends. It is actually very easy when you try it for a couple of times. Let's repeat. You select Camera tab. Select the lens that you need. Next you select color profile of your choice. Decide, do you need red Leica mode? Next, select HDR or HDR Plus if needed. Tweak your shutter speed if your subject is moving, or just leave it on auto if you're not in the mood. Next, tap on the screen and control the brightness by dragging brightness slider up or down. Very easy. But what other two sections do? Second, in the middle left, controls your ISO. Each lens will have different ISO values, and you can choose and control if needed. Some ISO values are better for low light, some for normal day conditions, some are a lot more noisy. I actually have a full X100 Ultra photography deep dive, where I show each and every ISO levels under different conditions, what is the best and what to avoid. That video is available for my Patreon, Seekers and Watchers members. Thank you my friends for generous support. My Alien Vault will be filled with more and more downloadable and watchable examples in the future. But let's go back on Earth. ISO control knob. If you know what and why, you can just pick desired ISO, but probably just leave it on auto. In 90% of situations, it will do the job. And next section is just manual focus. You scroll this knob and focus further and closer. It is very handy for macro photography, product shots, or when you shoot something stationary on a tripod. In all other cases, just leave it on auto and tap on the screen to focus, or even just leave it to a phone to decide. All these knobs and sliders give you full control over your image. Just press those circle arrow button to reset brightness if you want the default one. Let's quickly see what is inside those tabs in the bottom. Modes, basic stuff, panoramas, 3D sphere for VR. Video tab. It has normal recording with bunch of stabilizations, time-lapse and slow motion. I usually never use anything other than photo tab. We already discussed it. It is where all the action is going on. Next, night side. Basically a night mode for bright HDR nights. It is being affected by a brightness slider also. Tap, drag down and have darker nights. If you press cogwheel on the top, you will get some options for night side. The main one is astrophotography mode with dedicated computations for stars. You can select auto or mandatory. Let me cover the lens. Now, if it is too dark, it will start an astro session. It can take a very long time, and you can interrupt it manually to get results early. So, Gcam in its glory. Select Camera tab, Lens, Color Profile, Red Leica on or off, Basic HDR or HDR Plus, and tweak shutter speed, ISO and manual focus if needed. Tap on the screen if you want to control the mood and brightness. and take a beautiful moments of your life. You now have a knowledge how to use Gcam camera. If you need a reminder on how to install a Gcam, I have a full installation guide. I am using Vivo X100 Ultra and Against mode as an example, but it is basically the same on all devices. The principle is the same, and some phones will have modes in the same Telegram group of Against if you check it. Of course, I did not cover everything, like moving pictures, but this video is already unnecessarily long. How people are able to make 2-3 minutes videos. Thank you all for watching. Thank you my Patreon Cosmic Squad. You are awesome. Check description and pin comment for more. And I hope to meet you again in the cosmos.